Welcome, everyone, to our Net of Light online teachings. We meet like this every 2 weeks uh, to keep ourselves lifted, to keep ourselves in the space where we can serve the grandmothers, serve the Net of Light, and be of use. Um, we're living through difficult times, as we all know, and we're doing very well, all things considered. And we will continue to do that because that's our contract with the grandmothers, to help one another, to help each other, to be at one with the divine, and just to be in service at all times. So as we've worked with the great council of the grandmothers over the years, they've brought us through all sorts of teachings, and our understanding and our whole relationship with life has grown because of that. And we have grown bigger, more understanding, softer, kinder, and more powerful as this has happened. And it continues, it is ongoing. I expect it will always be so. And so we continue on. And about a year ago, all of a sudden, they started kind of guiding us to work with nature in all her forms. It began with talking about the return of the mother, that this is the time of the return of the mother to the earth, that she's been absent long enough, and now is the time for her to come back, segue in with the fathers so that mother and father uphold all life on earth. And our part in this is great and very satisfying because we become very much at one with Mother, Mother Earth, Great Mother, uh, the, the Mater. We become one with that. And as that happened, then they began to work with us with the trees, asking us to begin to relate personally with the trees. And so we did. And it was January 26th of last year that we had a big gathering in Southern California around this 500-year-old sycamore, which had been holding sacred space since the time before the white men had come to California. And we began to work there. And from there, then began to work with the redwoods and with all the trees all over the world. From there, it went into working with the other elements, all the elements: earth, air, water, fire, and ether. And we've been on this kind of mission with working with nature, reactivating our sacred bond with nature so that once again, human beings can live in this very practical but also magical union with the natural world. And so, in that time, I've heard from many, many of you, and many of you have had very special, very specific happenings, relationships with nature as you've gone about your life. And we're going to talk about some of that today because our goal and our purpose is to live there, to live in this bonded ambiance with nature so that we are one. And there is this deep understanding: no more division, no more fear of nature, no more taking nature for granted or treating nature like a thing and treating ourselves like a thing, but recognizing instead this sacred living bond that we share. So we'll be talking about that today. But before we start, we always start with working with the net of light to set this template of power within ourselves, within the earth, within the surroundings of our planet, so that we can do the greatest amount of good as we work together. So I'm going to ask Kate um, if she will lead us in this net of light meditation as we begin. Okay.
Okay. Am I heard? Okay. Everybody, please take a very, very deep breath into your center and feel yourself fully encompass your physical body in the chair or wherever you find yourself. Take another very deep breath. And exhale all distractions and concerns, and especially mental activity. And feel now that the grandmothers are coming behind us and holding us in this great embrace, in this great circle around the world where our hearts are all linked. And we invite into this moment, before we cast the net, we invite the elements, starting with the element of air. Air, please join us in this net of light. Feel the air on your skin and the air in your lungs. Feel it dance. We also invite in the element of fire, the fire that is our life, a beat of our heart, the sun on our skin, the possibility of life on our planet, the transmuter of things. Join us in love and support of the net of light. We also invite in the element of water, the great seas around our planet and the streams and the rivers, the water within our bodies carrying all the nutrients throughout our whole bodies, in and out of our cells. Feel our oneness in this elemental embrace. We invite the element of earth, the very solidity under our feet holding us up, and the very solidity of our own bodies, where we inhabit space on this beautiful planet. And we invite the element of ether, the mystical element that holds us all, and that holds all time and space, and the net of light, and all our intentions, and all of our records, and all of our prayer and song. And from this harmonious place, we cast the net of light out across our planet to each man, woman, and child in any situation, and we ask that each receive that which is according to their very highest good, and we give thanks for that. We cast all the animals of this earth, the animals of the air, the ocean, the lands, in captivity and free. We thank them for the blessing of their presence, and we welcome them in this dance with us. We cast the net of light to the plant world, to all the plants, the great trees, the tiny mosses and lichens, that all aspirate with us in millions of ways and hold us in the deepest blessings. To the kelp forests dancing under the water, graceful like ballet, to all these beautiful presences. We cast to the mineral kingdom, the bones of our earth that hold our ancestors' bones. We cast to the natural elements, the elemental spirits that accompany us in this world, the unseen spirits, to the great sages and avatars, the guides that stand with us, to my dog, who insists on being known right now. Forgive me. And we cast to everything that lives. And together we sing, may everyone in all the worlds be happy. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. Oh, peace, peace, peace.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you. Feel your body now. Feel that peace, peace, peace reverberating inside you and in the air around you as the chair holds you and the floor supports your feet. And automatically, the breath of life breathes you, and you're held so effortlessly. Cared for all the time. The air's moving in and out of you rhythmically, as is right at this moment. Your body temperature is probably around 98.6 for the most part. And all the activities within your body, digestion, elimination, regeneration, it's all going on without you having to think about it at all. We are always cared for. We're always enfolded and held and blessed. Always. Take a moment now to thank all these powers of life that are holding you and restoring you, cleansing you, healing you right now. It's a very big thing. And we're so busy most of the time, tearing around, at least inside our minds, that we seldom realize the grace that infuses us at all times. Nature likes to be remembered just as we do. So remember her right now. Remember her as you breathe. Remember her as you feel your body and you feel the chair and the floor under you. Maybe the chair back at your back. Remember her now as you feel the sense of life within your whole body. Remember her. Each time we remember her, we grow closer to her. And when that happens, she's able to give more to us, and we are able to give more to her. And the flow becomes gargantuan. And so congratulate yourself each time you remember. We all understand that the world is a great big distracting machine and always pulling us off into one idea or worry or fascination or horror at a time, sometimes more than one at a time. But under it all lies the truth of our being. And we are held, we are supported, we are alive because of our union with nature. Nature is often thought of as the mother aspect of the divine, whereas structure and the rules of life are more often thought of as the father aspect of life. And we are now being reintroduced to the mother. She has returned to earth. And it is our great pleasure and privilege to get to know our mother now. And there's really no better way than through nature. So we've invited a couple of our grandmothers um, to be with us today to talk a little bit about what's changing in us now as we begin to really awaken to the presence, the divine presence of nature in our lives. Because it's such a, I keep using this word big, it's such a big deal. It's really um, the linchpin for our times, this connection with nature. This is how we will become who we were meant to be. We won't get there buzzing around up here in our brains, but we will get here sinking deep into our hearts, into our elemental being, which is at one with nature. So, we're going to share some of what each of us is learning. And I've invited those on the Grandmother's Council to join us also. If something sparks your mind about what's changing in your relationship with nature now, in this past year that we've been working so intensely with her and with all the elements. So I'm going to throw this open now to Phyllis and Alice, our two guests, and then to our members of the uh, Grandmother's Council, Diane and Kate and Peggy and Nadia. Who am I missing? But I guess I'm not. And me. So, what's happening? Um, Everybody who's tuning in today is part of this work. That's why we meet, so that we can anchor this presence of the divine presence of nature in ourselves, and we can anchor ourselves with nature at the same time to heal us, to heal her. So, what's happening? What's shaking with you now?
I would love to speak to this. Um, I I was saying to you, Sharon, a few days ago that one of the gifts of this last year of quarantine of COVID, being in a vastly different way of living life, there is something that has happened, I'm sure for many of us, but for me personally, just this connection with stillness and quiet. There has been I guess I've given myself a permission to more deeply let it in, but I I just, for me, it has become the portal to a much deeper relationship with nature and more real relationship with nature, and taking, knowing that I am a part of it, I'm a responsible member of it. So this this opening to stillness just is something that I just feel is a great gift, and I go forward with it. My life will be forever changed and moved into this bigger river that I feel because of this connection to stillness. And all I have to do is just breathe, and there it is. And I was planting vegetable seeds a couple days ago. And I was thinking of that grandmother's song, Where I Stand is Holy, Everything is Holy. And I was holding these little seeds in my hand, which, you know, are a basic miracle, a seed. And I was holding them in my hands and holding them up in the sunlight and blessing them and just marveling at them. But I gave myself more time to do that. I probably always do that, but it's like that. And I just gave myself this beautiful luxury of time to be with them before I planted them. And it was such a pleasure. It was such a real delight to garden this way. So it's changing. I mean, I've always kind of gardened that way, but as I said, it's more spacious. So it's more pleasurable and more real.
Thank you. Thank you, Phyllis.
Alice, we can't hear you.
Now, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So nature and beauty have always been connected, and I have really, really gotten that this last year. I bet because of the stillness and the peace and the love, they're so connected. And there's sacred places where that beauty of nature really speaks to me. And our whole world is a sacred place, which we haven't been acknowledging. But now, since I've slowed down, I really get how sacred our earth is, and it just moves me. And I want to tell you a story about one of my daughter's cats, who's 19. They were building a new house, and they rented a place down the street, just a couple of blocks. And their cat knew that that rental house was not happening as far as a sacred place. And every day for 2 years, that cat walked up the street and stayed in the property that they were going to be inhabiting again, in spite of all the construction and all the mess and all that. He just knew that that was the sacred place. And he spent, another 13 years there when they moved back. And it was so, animals know sacred places, they know. And think of, like, it's just, I don't know, it's hard for me to have words because I grew up in the desert. And when I moved to California and I just saw the waterfalls and the ferns growing and nature everywhere, it's just so much about the connection of beauty, which heals my soul. And I think that it's our way to our soul is through beauty. and nature. And I've really gotten that more now that I've slowed down. So it's just so beautiful.
Wow. Thank you, Alice. Thank you. Oh. Mm.
One other thing I want to share is Sharon knows we've gone to visit some sacred trees. And about 3 years ago, it's been 3 years since I visited this. I think this tree was probably 300 years old. And the last week, I heard that tree kept calling me, come and see me, come and see me. So this morning, before now, I went up to where I haven't been for a long time. It's kind of steep. And when I went to the tree, it's gone. And it's all gone. And I just knew it was calling me to say goodbye. And it's in other trees now, but just to see again the beauty of this huge tree with branches going, I can't even say how far out they were, is just now laying on the earth, peaceful. And I did need to say goodbye, but that tree called me for a week. I just kept hearing it. So I went, and it was very sacred. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, Alice said that everything on earth is sacred, and that's exactly right. These special places that we particularly resonate to are easiest for us to understand. That's why so many people will travel to Machu Picchu or to Sedona or to Shasta or to Stonehenge, something like that, because, you know, those are so obvious and they stand out in such an unusual way that we can really relate to them and see their sacredness. It's harder to recognize the little valley, you know, down the road, or the stream bed behind the old church, or a grove of redwoods in the city park, or wherever. But that's only because of our conditioning, because we've been taught to only go to the marked, to the very exemplary or exotic in some way. And so we miss the presence of the sacred that's right here now. If you were to go look out your window, your eyes would fall upon sacred earth. It's inevitable. There might just be a little bush there, or maybe some dead grasses, but the earth herself is full of the presence of the Divine Mother, full of it. And each time we recognize that, this sacred presence comes more fully alive. When we walk on the earth and we think, oh, where I'm really walking is where all people have walked for time out of mind. This is seeing everything. This is a sacred place. When we go to the water and we look at that crystal clear, sparkling water, and we realize, oh, this is the same water that's been rising up into the heavens, raining down on us again, rising up, constantly being purified as it goes through that. It's the same thing. We're walking on the earth that all our ancestors walked on. We're breathing the air that Jesus breathed, that Muhammad breathed, that Buddha breathed. We're breathing that same air. Where we live is holy, and who we are is holy. And that makes me think of that song again, that Phyllis that you mentioned. Nadia, do you feel like singing it? Where I stand is holy.
We'll miss the call and response, but that's okay. Unless, Kate,
I'll
Kate, will you join me for the call and response?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Where I stand is holy, holy is the ground. Forest, mountain, river, listen to the sound. Great Spirit circles all around me. Who I am is holy, holy are we. We are one together for eternity. Great Spirit circles all around me. Who I am is holy.
Who I am is holy.
What we are is holy.
What we are is holy.
Great Spirit circles all around me. Where I,
Great,
st- where I
great
stand is
Spirit.
holy.
Where I stand is holy.
Who I am is
Hey,
holy.
Who I am is holy. Great
great
Spirit circles all around me.
Great Spirit circles all around me. A little variation.
Unrehearsed.
Yeah, good. Very good. Let's go in and do a little work together before we depart for today. And we're going to call the grandmothers right now. And with the grandmothers are all forms of the divine, because all forms are one at the core. They show up in different ways, in different costumes and languages, at different times for the sake of humanity, so we can relate to them. And now, when it's time for the return of the Great Mother, the grandmothers have come so that we can understand that presence and open to it ourselves. So, grandmothers, thank you. And we do open to you. And it is our great desire to live in this open place of oneness with you and oneness with one another. Beyond all our so-called differences, our hearts beat with the same love. We recognize this now and open to our own radiant hearts. And we ask you to enter in to us now, probably more fully than you have yet as yet done. Because grandmothers, we want the real deal. We want to know and understand our oneness with the divine. And we ask you to come in now. So go ahead and ask the grandmothers to come right into you, to line up along your spine with you, to breathe through you, to see through you, hear through you, think through you, and love through you. And grandmothers, let us see and know the divine wherever we are. See through my eyes, grandmothers. Love through my heart. Think through this mind of mine, that I may love as you love, that I may know as you know, and that I may see the divine presence everywhere. Together, Now we ask forgiveness from nature for all the great harms that we have caused her, knowingly and unknowingly. And so together we speak the simple words of the Ho'oponopono 3 times in asking forgiveness from nature. We say together, I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Experience the grandmothers all around you now, embracing you, holding you, grateful for your love and grateful for your desire to love. And together we say, thank you, grandmothers. Thank you. And I'm just going to sing that little blessing song, and then we'll say goodbye until we meet again in 2 weeks. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. Oh, peace, peace, peace. Ah, yes. Feel the way you feel. Let yourself be held in love. It's your birthright to be held like this. And we'll see you again